Neil Young versus Joe Rogan. Neil Young put his foot down this week. We talked about it on Jim and Sam on Sirius XM. He put his foot down and he said, Spotify, if you keep your deal going with that fountain of misinformation, somebody who might as well be a murderer, I'm paraphrasing, I don't know if he actually said that, Joe Rogan, then let me tell you something. You could take my music off. That's right, Spotify. It's either him or me. Now look, and he keeps saying, by the way, this is the author of the song Keep On Rockin' in the Free World. Now, and my favorite part of this whole story is that I think last night at a comedy show, Rogan left the stage to Keep On Rockin' in the Free World. That's what I heard. I wasn't there, obviously, but I did read that online. Awesome. Yeah, I hope so. Because I'm not one of these, I don't necessarily look at what private companies do as a reflection of free speech. You know, I'm more like, I kind of buy into the private company, their own rules, blah, blah, blah. But if you do believe in artistic expression and that companies should not stifle artistic expression, which most artists should, because they wouldn't want their expression stifled, then the idea that not only do you disagree with somebody, but they must be silenced, it doesn't feel like the most artistic way to live your life. Because that's the difference, right? To me, there's a big difference between Neil Young showing up and saying, well, I'm not going to be on Spotify anymore because I don't like that Joe Rogan show is on. If he says that, I go, that's kind of a dopey thing to do, Neil, but
it's a form of protest.
Yeah, God bless you. You're welcome to do it. The difference is when he throws out the ultimatum. When he says it's either him or me, that's when I'm like, all right, Neil. Like, first of all, jump off your soapbox. I don't know if you know this, but there's not that much of your demo that is specifically alive. You said that's wrong. That is specifically subscribing to Spotify for you. Like, it was one of those where it's like, I love an ultimatum gone wrong. There's nothing better. Like, to watch somebody go like over a person overvaluing themselves and within hours having it displayed to them that, yes, indeed, you very much overvalued yourself. It's just a beautiful moment for me to witness. I love it when it happens. And that's what happened here. Neil Young overvalued himself. He set up the ultimatum. Spotify is like, we're paying Joe Rogan $100 million. If this company is paying the podcaster $100 million, then he has to have a value to them that is greater than $100 million. That's what people, like, it's not like what's Joe Rogan worth to Spotify? According to Spotify, over $100 million. Even if it was just $100 million, they didn't buy Joe Rogan to break even. You know, that wouldn't make any sense. Like, we'll pay $100 million, but we'll get it back. Well, why don't we just not pay it then? Oh, okay, that's what we'll do. No, it would have to be, at the minimum, Joe Rogan is worth to Spotify, according to Spotify, $100 million and $1 at minimum, at least.
It's an investment.
Yes. And I can't imagine that Neil Young, his whole catalog by himself, is making for Spotify $100 million and $2. I can't imagine that that's happening. And I would have hoped that somebody would have told Neil Young, like, look, I get it. You don't like the podcast. You don't like what he's saying. Neil Young is a high risk for COVID. Neil Young does not want to get COVID. Like, Hot Dog, you're being all lackadaisical about it because you don't realize you're getting older yourself. But Neil Young is aware that he's not a young man. If he gets COVID, it's a scary thing. If you get COVID, you're chilling with your roommates, whatever. You're making a big joke about it, but not Neil Young.
I'm built different.
You're younger. I mean, decades younger.
And built different.
But yeah, so I guess I'll tell you what was smart. When Spotify goes like, yeah, I mean, we're going to go with Rogan. Obviously. Like,
easy.
Yeah, we're definitely going with Rogan. Like, Neil, we'll take your stuff off if you want, but like, we're clearly going to go with Rogan. You know,
It wasn't even a hands-on, like, all hands meeting or anything like that. It was just a.
Oh,
Yeah,
can you imagine the Spotify staffers that hated Joe Rogan before? They're all pretending they're Neil Young fans, by the way, now. Do you know how many people are trying to get like the moral credit by saying that they're Neil Young fans today?
stand with Neil.
Do you know how many people are getting that nice virtue? They're getting that virtue flung their way by being like, can you believe this? And politics aside, Neil Young is one of the great American treasures of music. And I'm like, I've never heard you listen to a Neil Young song in your goddamn life. I've never heard it happen. Yes, I
Punch
have.
ahead. Name 3 tracks.
3. And they're like, well, you said keep on rocking in the free world. I'll even give you the one I already said. Just give me 2 more.
Born in the USA? No.
Yeah. Sweet Caroline? No. Sorry. He was Eric Clapton, right? No, he was not Eric Clapton. He was Neil Young. So, yeah.
I'll do anything for love.
God rest, R.I.P. Yeah, no, sorry. Not only that, but the guy who's saying I'll do anything for love probably listened to Rogan like every day.
Gotta go. Gotta go.
I've said this after other Rogan controversies, but can't we have higher expectations for people that we won't punish Joe Rogan because there are people that think he's like a doctor? Like, I've listened to Joe Rogan, and he said stuff that I agree with and stuff that I disagree with. Some of the stuff he said, I'm like, what the fuck would you even say that? That's a crazy thing to say. But he also, like, he talks for like 4 hours 3 times a week. He just says all this shit. But that's the thing that I remember. He just says all this shit all the time. That's what he does. That's what his show has always been. How big does my audience have to be to the point where I will now have the responsibility where I have to be a professor? Like, I thought you were just some goofy idiot who talks about wrestling and shills gold roses. No, you got 11 million people. You better be a goddamn valedictorian. And I'm like, I didn't
What are your credentials?
I know. What? I got here because people were just listening to the show. Like, that's why Rogan's in the position that he's in, because people were just listening to the show. He would turn on a live stream, he would talk shit, and people would listen. So it's like more people started listening, and now it's like, you should change what you do. And then it's like, but that's why people are listening, because of what I was doing. If I changed what I do, then the people who are listening because I do what I do would stop listening. And then you wouldn't be like, oh, that's, you should start saying bad stuff again. You'd be like, oh, I don't know. I changed the show. It sucks now. What? That doesn't help.
I mean,
and then, did you hear?
It's a profitable system. I almost feel like jumping on the Rogan hate train.
Just cause, right? Just like,
yeah.
Just cause. Did you hear what Neil Young said today in his blog?
What?
He didn't like Spotify anyway. He said, if you support Spotify, you're destroying an art form. And I went, destroying an art form? Because I kind of felt like destroying an art form was going out there and saying, this person shouldn't be allowed to say this thing on a podcast. That feels more like, but he goes, you're destroying an art form. So I was like, I got to read this blog. Let me see. And it said, he said that the sound quality that Spotify has on their songs sucks. And it's been sucking. He said Spotify does terrible things to the sound quality of the music files. It doesn't sound good on Spotify. But good news, hot dog.
Mm-hmm.
Apple Music, everywhere else, sounds much better.
Everywhere else that doesn't have Joe Rogan.
Yeah. If it doesn't have Joe Rogan, the sound quality is tremendous. It's great.
Now, do you think he would have came out with this information had Spotify chosen him over Joe Rogan?
He did not release the information until Spotify had clearly said, well, if it's one or the other, it's Joe. That is when Neil Young decided to announce that I didn't want to be there anyway because the sound quality sucks, which is, yeah, it was a weird time. It was certainly weird timing.
Sam, what are you going to do? I know your podcast is on Spotify.
Yeah. You mean Not Sam Wrestling?
Yeah.
okay. So this is my favorite part, right? There were rumors about artists following Neil Young. Okay, Barry Manilow was trending. You know Barry Manilow? Barry Manilow was trending on Twitter because for some reason Twitter thought that Barry Manilow was following Neil Young. Let me tell you what's even more absurd than Neil Young thinking that he's more valuable to Spotify than Joe Rogan. Barry Manilow thinking he's more valuable to Spotify than Joe Rogan. However, hot dog, don't worry about it. Barry Manilow took to Twitter and he goes, I've seen people report that I'm taking my music off Spotify. I have no idea where this information came from. Did not come from me. So he will not be leaving Spotify. No.
Copacabana stays?
Copacabana stays.
Woo!
Her name was Lola. Da, 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 da. Yeah.
Great audio quality too on that one.
Perfect audio quality. And it is the official theme song of the alt-right now. Copacabana, yes. It is official. Peter Frampton. You know Peter Frampton? Peter Frampton, he tweeted, good for you, Neil. Hashtag support Neil Young or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Peter Frampton's music currently available on Spotify. Available on Spotify.
Okay.
Still on
Nice.
Spotify. Yes. So yeah,
Good
no.
for you. Are you joining? No.
No. I got one question. Who's coming with me? No one. Yeah. Not Sam Wrestling available on Spotify. Correct. Currently and Monday. However, there won't be a new episode until Monday after the Royal Rumble. You will be able to listen on Spotify. Yes, you will. Yes, you will be able to listen on Spotify. As a matter of fact, go ahead and leave me a rating on Spotify. Definitely going to be on Spotify.
I don't have any content there, but I was willing to delete my playlist from Spotify.
Well, let me ask you this: if I moved Sam Roberts Now over to Spotify, you coming?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I would. I would think so. I would feel like that's the move. Yeah. So, I'll tell you what was genius though. What I have to respect, because I'm not getting to get involved in this politically is a fool's errand. I just love observing, and you know what I love? Literally, the morning after it was announced that Neil Young is not going to be on Spotify, SiriusXM announces the return of Neil Young Radio. Come and listen to all the Neil Young you want on SiriusXM. I mean, they can't get Rogan. They might as well get Neil Young, right?
Got to cash in on that, baby.
I mean, where are we going to get points from, right? It doesn't make any sense for Sirius to go the other way. What are they going to do? Be like, yeah, we're banning him too. What? That does nothing. So...
Sirius, would you like Joe Rogan to come on board?
Mm-hmm. Yep, certainly. Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye, Neil.
What channel will you put Neil? What channel will you put Joe Rogan on? We'll put him on Neil Young Radio. Yeah, you can have that channel. Yeah, sure, whatever, sure. That's what's going on there. No more Neil Young on Spotify. So everybody that pretends that they used to listen to Neil Young on Spotify is gonna pretend to be upset for a while.
It's a bummer. I was searching this morning, and I go,
I mean, I'll tell
Joe.
In the short term, you're going to have way more people listening to Neil Young and way more people listening to Joe Rogan's show. So that's how this results. That's what happens.
Win-win.
It is. It really is.